If you don't have a painting to paint over, just paint your regular white canvas black. That's your first step. Use a relatively thin layer. One thing I like about painting over paintings is there's that added layer of intrigue that no one knows about unless they do. And it's also just, it creates more texture because there's the texture of the layer underneath the painting. It's a cloudy day today, so I thought I should wear something bright to combat the cloudiness and to just, I don't know. I love this dress. It's from my clothing line. I wanted to wear something from my clothing line. It's an upcycled blanket, so I didn't crochet it. But enough about me. Back to the painting. As you can see, I'm using relatively thin layers, and you can kind of see the painting underneath showing through. So I might build up the paint in a few places. If you prefer a larger brush, feel free to use the brush that suits your comfortability. Rule of thumb, use a brush that is relatively equal to the size that you're painting or to the space that you're painting. This is actually a kind of a small canvas. It's a 16 by 20. So excuse some of the noise. I feel like this corner needs to just be covered a little bit more. And then we're gonna do some other cool things with the background. So you might wonder what inspired this painting. Of course, Chappell Roan, Pink Pony Club. If you haven't heard the song, where have you been? You might be living under a rock. But I am so here for it. Pink Pony Club, dude. And I thought, like, honestly, my dress also inspired it. Not the song, but like painting it, because I was like, okay, I can match the pinkness of the painting. And it's kind of catchy, so we'll see. Okay. So essentially, here is the top of the nose. And it kind of comes down over like that. And then there's going to be the bottom lip. And then a little straight line. The cheek. Oh, I'm probably going to want to move it over a little bit more. So essentially it's like this. Here's the ears. They're kind of triangles leaning forward. This one is more of like a leaf shape because there's perspective involved. There's going to be a strong shadow on this side of the face as well as on the neck. There is going to be below the ear, there's going to be a little eye moment happening. There's going to be a nose nostril situation. There's going to be some hair at the top, and then hair kind of coming down on the side of the horse. Okay, so that's the vibe of the general shape that we're going to be painting. So as I paint, don't get lost. Like, if you do get a little bit lost, just kind of pause, and you might even let your painting dry a little bit and then go back in and paint into it. I personally like working with dry paintings. It's easier to paint over stuff, so let's just get into it. I'm gonna use my medium-sized brush, and I'm gonna do outlining of sorts, just kind of plot it in. We're just gonna use my pink paint, the medium pink paint, and if it mixes with everything, it's okay, because we're just gonna build that layer. So we're gonna do some horizontal brush strokes. So this is gonna be the top of the nose, and honestly, this is gonna be a relatively simple painting for you guys. It's somewhere in the middle of simple and advanced. Okay, do you see how I'm allowing the paint to blend in with the black? This is a good thing. So allow it to dissipate. It's gonna make your painting look a bit more elevated. All right, we're gonna now, it's almost like a cylinder vibe happening. And so I grew up with horses, and a short nose was always considered desirable in a horse. My dad bred horses, and ropes still when he can. Okay. Now we're gonna do like a half circle for the cheek, and we're going to just kind of feel out how far is the bottom of the lip from the cheek. And there is muscle structure happening in the face that we need to be aware of. Now I'm going to do some vertical brush strokes to vertical and horizontal, I suppose, to kind of fill in that cheek area with this pink. From this medium pink, we'll bring out the lights and the darks, but you kind of gotta start somewhere. So starting out with medium is a really good way to go. All right, let's plot in where the ear is, just using the black as I feel like it needs to be a little taller or something. I'm not really sure. Well, we're using the black as like the shadow, like already in the painting. That's one of the reasons why I really enjoy starting out with a black canvas, because it's like creating a shadow that you can work into, and you can pull that light from the black. Okay, I'm gonna take my light pink and I'm gonna plot in the hair by doing almost like, here's my little demonstration. We're gonna do this vibe. All right, it's where you start out at the root and just kind of come out. I have to be careful with this dress because I have 2 fashion shows that it's going to be in December, so I have to make sure I don't get any paint on it or I'm going to be screwed. All right, so let's do that hair vibe, and I'm feeling kind of how wide the head is, and I might move the ear out a little bit more after I add in the hair. I'm kind of swooping it to the side, and look at how much give and texture there already is I'm just gonna add some of that purple in there because why not? The texture is truly one of the reasons why I love painting over old paintings. But also, if a painting sits around for so long, you just kind of get tired of looking at it, I suppose. I'm wondering if then once I put the hair in, I'm like, okay, maybe the nose could be a little bit longer. Make it curl under. It's okay to move and adjust things as you go. Don't take your previous decisions in your painting too seriously, because you can always kind of adjust it and change your mind, basically. It's not like some of the other things in life where there's like real consequences. So just remember that. All right, we're gonna do purple now. We're gonna do an up and down motion, which is the neck. And I suppose you can say I'm painting through everything more than outlining it, but in my mind this is the equivalent of an outline, because I might go in and kind of change where things are located and whatnot. It's like the first vibe of the painting. So I'm using purple. We don't have to get all into it, but essentially this side of the face I'm going to add purple too as well, because it's shaded. I'm kind of trying to decide where that ear goes. We're just kind of leaving it like that for now. So I am using bright colors. I love bright colors. I think bright colors are hella underrated and they're not taken as seriously as they should. But that's the thing about bright colors, is they're not supposed to be taken seriously, and that's a good thing. Taking the white, we're gonna do almost like a rounded fireworks rainbow vibe. Brush marks, texture. Now remember, I used my white Gaffrey paint to mix in with my other paint to create that thick oil painty look. I did learn how to paint with oil paint, so it makes it easier to use any kind of paint. Honestly, it's like learning to run before you walk. Like, using oil paint is harder than using acrylic sometimes, depending on what it's like, you know, it's not water soluble, so it's harder to kind of manipulate sometimes because you've got all of these elements that you might not be used to using. So I do recommend, if you're a beginner starting out with acrylic, and maybe I'm gonna teach you guys how to do oil painting in the future. We'll see. Okay, see what I'm doing? I'm just kind of indicating that the hair is wrapping around the head by doing like this, like C vibe. It's like the letter C, only backwards. Okay, and I'm kind of seeing, all right, where does the nose go? I'm kind of opening up what I previously had to make sure that everything is where it needs to be before I develop anything. Actually, I feel like this could be curved in a little more, so I'm taking the black. There we go. All right. All right. How are you hanging in there? Are you following along? All right, so now let's take a lot of pink and just fill it in using chaotic, energetic brush marks. On the lower left side, this is going to be the lower neck, shoulder area. And again, this is a very painterly painting. Maybe I haven't said that, but we want the brush strokes to feel evident. We want them to feel like these brush marks are activating the painting. So don't smooth everything out. going back to the purple and reiterating this shadow cast by the face, which I still think I need to make the face just like bigger in general, because even though this is a pink pony, it's not My Little Pony. It's a real freaking, it's a full-on horse, okay? Even though it's like a portrait of a magical pink horse. You know, that's the vibe. Maybe it could have a unicorn, but that's a little too predictable. Sometimes we want to paint things that are nuanced. And who knows, after I paint this, I might want to go in with some glitter or something. Okay. Let's take some purple and build this paint up a little bit in here. Feeling out this shadow a little bit more. Horses are really muscular, magical creatures, so as we develop the painting, we're going to try to indicate that muscular structure through the nose and the cheek and whatnot. Okay, so in here, let's just create some structure. Before we even put in the eye, I'm gonna make a little highlight kind of underneath it with the lighter pink that we mixed. And I'm kind of connecting that to the lower portion of where the nose would be. Let's take some more and kind of wrap around where we kind of envision that nostril to be. So we're using kind of a negative space technique right now, where you paint around the thing that you think it is that you're painting. Okay, so you think you're painting the eye, but really you're painting the space around the eye, which is in turn painting the eye. There's a wood shop underneath where I'm located, so they're working on stuff right now, so it might be a little loud. You might hear some things out there. All right, so I'm gonna switch to a little bit of a smaller brush. Still long, still relatively thick, but you can get quite a bit out of this type of brush. Like I said, I have to be careful with this dress because it's in 2 fashion shows in December. So, all right. This black area is kind of where I'm thinking the eye is gonna go. I'm basically painting a slanted almond. This part might be a little bit challenging. It's important to focus on the skin around the eye to really contextualize the eye. So I'm taking some of that white or the light pink and kind of creating these planes around the eye. And I'm not making it like a harsh line where we're making it where it's a little bit blended in with the space around, at least for now. I want to make sure that this shadow over here is maybe as dark as it needs to be. And after things dry, we can always go in and adjust the lightness or the darkness of something. But those undertones always inform what the final color is. Okay. Creating a little bit more of a rounded structure. I will say right now it looks creepy. It really does. But we're getting there. We have to really take the time that it deserves to make it look correct. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to render one thing and then move to the next thing. We're going to work on everything all together. Okay. Going back to my bigger brush because I need to get back into these planes underneath the eye. Okay. All right, so the ear is going to be more vertical, I think. I'm moving away from the eye for a second. I'm working on some of the space around it. And in here, it really needs to be simplified. But right now, I'm just plotting in the general, like what it is. Making that a little bit darker. Some of the other artists are in the studio today. You may hear them chatting. I'm really grateful to be a part of a vivacious creative community. Okay. So before we work on the eye anymore, I'm gonna take full on white and create a streak down the nose. I'm going to connect that to the left nostril area. You can see I'm using confident brush marks. And already I think that that's going to help inform everything else. Let's blend it a little bit by adding some pink around it, because it's like that feels too dark in here. So we're using that light pink and we're pulling out some of that space. Oh my Lord Jesus, I did not mean to do that. It's okay. Sometimes you lose control over your paint. It happens. All right, we're getting it back. You just gotta work it into what you have. Painting around the nostril again. Making sure that this space next to the white feels like it's a full-on plane, not like airplane, like the side of the face. That's what's gonna make this feel dimensional. Light pink over here to indicate where the left eye would be. It's obviously on the other side of the face. And then I'm going to kind of try to erase where that blackness is. Using light. Kind of a scumbling technique. Scumbling is where you use light over dark and you allow some of that darkness to show through. Quick brush strokes. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Just like that. It's perfect. It's getting there, right? All right. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna flip it. And I'm gonna flip my reference, which I generated on AI. You can judge me for it, but I think it's a great tool for inspiration, and especially developing something that's simple enough to teach but advanced enough to be cool, basically. All right, let's take some of that pink, kind of highlight down there a little bit. Let's create almost like a little muscle moment, like a circular little muscle moment here. Let's take a little bit of pink, indicate where a lip would be, a bottom lip, and the top lip, kind of allowing it to disappear into the black. Now the nose kind of curls into itself a little bit, and it's kind of got a lighter rim. I do recommend flipping your painting upside down at some point in the painting process, if not multiple times throughout the painting process, because it forces you to see your painting from a different perspective, which often allows you to see what it really needs. Highlighting under the eye again. Highlighting these muscles in here. I noticed that kind of connects into the darker shadowed part. So it's kind of like a balance between pink and purple and through here, because it's kind of underneath the nose area, so it's shaded more. And anything that's shaded is going to look more purpley and blue. Blues and purples are your friend. And a lot of times you have to push what you're seeing from your reference, whether it's in life or not. Like, you kind of have to exaggerate what you're seeing in the painting. All right, let's take a little bit of that hot pink red that we mixed and put it underneath the face. And on the side of the face, kind of blending it in with the hair, because we're going to go back in with the hair later and create more of it, basically. Take some more of that pink, kind of add it into the purple. I might need to let it dry before I get too much on there, but already we're creating more structure. All right, my camera. All right, let's take that dark purple. I'm actually going to mix it a little bit in with black, and I'm painting underneath the nose, creating some space. And like I said, the nose kind of curls into itself a little bit. It's almost like making a 9. That's a good way to put it. And then it's got kind of a flat bottom, like the bottom of the top of the lip is a little bit flat, and then it kind of curves up. And then it's about finding that balance of progression between light to dark. And a lot of it has to do with layering up the paint until it's truly where it needs to be. Look at what happens whenever you put too much on before it's dry, because like some of the layers get dry underneath, and then yeah. Okay, let's add a little bit of, like, it's almost like adding eyelids and stuff around the horse's eye. So just kind of creating a little bit of space around the eye. And then I definitely need some structure up here. And then, yeah, I need to create the ear, which is kind of like a diagonal leaf shape. And I'm using the purple. And I'm trying to feel out how much space is in between the ear and the eye. Like I said, there's muscle structure really all throughout a horse head. So it's like you kind of have to create almost like a blocky structural sense so that it looks like there are different planes happening. Let's take this light purple and create some structure in here as well. Adding some light pink around it to blend it in. And it takes time to really feel out where everything goes. I mean, even if I did show you exact step-by-steps, you would have to figure out where everything is on your canvas anyway. So learning how to feel through your painting is a really important part of this process. So keep that in mind. And yeah, I definitely think flipping it is a good idea. Okay, so let's make all of this kind of one moment here. Like I just want it to all feel like it's connected. Like I'm basically mixing on the canvas. It's mainly just the cheek area. I'm accidentally pulling up some of the paint a little bit too much. Things like that don't scare me. I just add more paint. But underneath the cheek, there's going to be a strong shadow. I'm taking black mixed with purple and just doing a downward motion, almost like a half moon. And then creating a cast shadow by painting downward with that dark shade. And already that's gonna help bring the face out a little bit. Mixing a shade of purple. Feeling out where everything goes underneath the nose. I want to make sure I'm leaving enough space for everything. There's a little highlight down here. And then also almost like a little pink highlight right there. But you also have to blend that highlight in with the shadow. Moment by moment, everything kind of changes. It can be overwhelming, but you just have to plot it in as you see it and build it up. Little white over here. That looks good. The more paint you use, especially for this type of painting, the better. Just build up those layers, honey. Build them up. Don't be afraid to. Just get in there. Okay. Adding a little more nuance around the eye with black. Just shading. I'm gonna go ahead and a little highlight on the eye, just so it doesn't look like creepy underneath the eye too. Because without the highlight, it kind of just looks a little bit ominous, if you know what I mean. A little highlight right there. I don't know if I'm gonna keep that. Part of me is like yes, part of me is like no. Might be a little bit too bright. I think having the bigger brush marks in here is a good idea. Going in with that light purple and recreating some of that structure over the black. And then doing the same over here. Just highlighting it again around the nose area. Let me flip it and see if it looks any better. I think it does. That's what's so weird. Like, you flip it and you work on it and then you flip it back and you're like, hey, hang on. Wait a second, it looks kind of good. A painting like this is weirdly about simplifying. So, all right, I'm running out of color, specifically my white. So here's the Gaffrey paint. It's thick. It's kind of expensive, but I think it's like something like this is $20 a tube, as opposed to like $6 a tube or something. But it lasts a long time, and they carry every color, but what I do is I just get white and I add it in with my other colors. But really it would be cool to get a few more thick colors. All right, so we've got some white. Let's just mix it in here. Here's that light pink vibe, and we're gonna take more of the pink. I'm gonna use some of the space over here. Just mix the pink with the white. That might be a little bit too bright. Honestly, I'm gonna just take a little bit of the yellow and add it in there, just to create another shade. Create a little more dynamic. Oh, gotta be careful to not mix it with the black. So that's a nice color. Take a little more pink, a little more white, and just mixy. I feel like this one needs to be purpley, so I'm gonna add some blue. That might be a little bit too blue. Go in with more pink. We'll keep that, but I'm gonna cut it in half. Add more pink. And add more white. Make it pastier. Add a little yellow into the purple, which will make it feel like a more sophisticated shade of purple because it's the contrast color. Now it kind of killed the purple maybe a little too much, but I like it. We've got I feel like I need even lighter pink, like a huge chunk of white, and then just, yeah, mix that in. And it's almost white, but it's not, it's pink. That's the vibe. All right. Okay. I said it was an old granny blanket. It's a dark horse. All right, right, let's work on the ear a little bit. I still have my big brush, it's just giving me bigger moments. All right, highlighting the tip of the ear. The ear is like, you almost can imagine it like it's a leaf kind of coming forward. The other one has, it's almost like here is the ear, and then that's like the top of the ear right there. Okay. And underneath is going to be really dark, like underneath it, because it's casting a shadow. So you can see I'm kind of indecisive of like where it's going, but I'm taking my black paint and painting around it to cut into the shape that I have. Now let's take the dark purple and just kind of fill it in. I'm actually mixing very quickly, almost like a light blue, and adding it in there. Let's add some pink here. Big brush strokes. I'm using the coral pink that I mixed. And we kind of want it to look like it's coming off of the canvas a little bit. Let's do a little highlight here. Let's do a nice thick like moment above the eyebrow. It's like a little muscle structure here and here. And this is one of the reasons why I mixed that other color of pink, so that I can go in and create more structure. Such a pretty pink pony. Oh, I'm obsessed. All right, let's do a little bit up here. Only we gotta blend that in with the darker pink. The more nuanced, the better. So no outlining. Allow your painting to kind of get lost in the space around it. Like, it doesn't need to be super outlined and specific and defined. I mean, just leave it kind of open in a few places. So there is a shadow right here happening. I'm gonna use this hot pink kind of color. It's like there's a shadow, and then above the shadow there's a distinct highlight, which is the ear kind of curving under. That's good. There's also a pretty strong highlight underneath the nose. The nose is tricky. I'm going to show you on here. It's almost like it's a 9. Like, it'll curve under like that, and then the mouth is down here somewhere. But like the nostril kind of curves into itself, and under here is kind of shaded. And yeah, it's very weird. It's different than a human nose. Very different. All right. But we've got some weird things happening with our noses too. Noses are a little just weird in general. All right. Basically, I can't think too hard about anything, otherwise it just starts feeling strange. All right, so yes, let's paint this again with that dark purple, mixing it with the hot pink, which is essentially red, and it's like purple. It's pink mixed with purple and red. And I'm creating a little bit of a lighter connected space around this cast shadow. And then kind of connecting that. This is like the side of the horse. My favorite horse growing up, her name was Dolly. She was beautiful. She was kind of a strawberry red color. She had one of those stripes down her noses. She was speckly. This kind of reminds me of her a little bit. Just doing a little shading around the eye. Taking more of that hot pink and creating some space in here. Let's take some of the light pink and create some space in there. That looks good. That looks good. Just kind of blend that. I'm kind of making in here a little bit more nuance, like where does the stripe stop and where does it turn into a highlight? I need more pink right there. Damn, it's really building up. The layers. That looks good. Ish, maybe. Let's take more white and just open this up a little bit more like how it was. All right, now I feel like I need to mix another shade of pink. It's like light, but not too light, but it's not coral. That's better. It's better to, not always, but a lot of times it's better to just mix it than it is to try to mix it on your canvas, because yeah, it can be a challenge to get the right color on your canvas. Okay, let's do like a big kind of stroke of pink in here, kind of connecting it a little bit to the face. And now adding more white or light pink kind of over the top, scumbling again, creating that thickness that is really desirable. Now I'm noticing that this ear back here could be highlighted just a little bit more. I want it to feel a little wispier. So I'm going to take my black and just kind of break up some of that hair. Wisp it out a little. Now take some pink and kind of work it back in. There. It kind of feels like the hair is broken up a little bit. Alright, so this side of the hair definitely needs to be worked on. You can see that it's a little malnourished. So yeah, let's just do what we were doing. Quick and thick. Quick and thick. That's my motto. Quick, thick. Okay, a light hair kind of coming out here and there is a good idea for this. It's yummy. It's a yummy painting. It's textured, it's juicy. And yeah, I'm scumbling again, just kind of adding. And here I'm making sure that the hairs kind of connect in a few places. That always gives kind of a whimsical, wispy vibe. You want to make sure the hair is coming over the actual neck, which sounds obvious, but those little nuances go a very, very long way. I feel like adding a little bit of purple in the hair is a good idea, but not so much that it distracts from the overall tone of the color. It really does match my dress, which was really what I was going for. Yeah, let's take some more of that purple. I do think in here there's a little shadow. Adding a little bit of purple into the mixed gel. It's looking good. Now it's a little too dark. That's okay, we're gonna add that white back over it, but keeping some of it. That's nice. Yes. In here, I feel like I can add just a little bit of like texture-y moments, kind of. It just needs to be a little bit more like me, not so flat. It's not quite right, but that's okay. Maybe in there just a little. I feel like that the nose, the nostril, like I'm just gonna shade a little bit of like gray in here, but not too much. And I'm gonna mix that with the black just so it doesn't feel like a never-ending hole. We want it to fade into the black. That's good. Let's take some more white. There we go, that's cute. Let's do a little one right there. I don't know if that was, ooh, I don't know if I like that. I hate it. That's okay. Sometimes you do something and you're like, okay, I don't like it. You can always just kind of be aware of what you're fixing, because like if you end up not liking it, you can always kind of backtrack by painting over it. But if you're not really aware of what you're doing as you're making those decisions in your painting, it's going to be harder for you to backtrack if you feel like you made the wrong move. Alright, looking through my monitor, I don't know, I feel like that doesn't need to be there as well. Sometimes you get excited and you're like, okay, I want to do something, and it's like for some reason that one brush mark can throw off the entire painting. Alright, we're going to create some shading under the ear right here. That looks good. That looks good. Just making the inner part of the ear darker. Let's take some of my hot pink and actually extend this ear. This ear is feeling a little thin. Let's make it wider. Wider as in like expanded horizontally, not white. Although I am going to take a little bit of this pink and just kind of curve around the ear just a little bit. That might be a little too much, but we'll take the black and cut back on it just a bit. Now taking the light purpley gray and kind of mixing that in there. And then taking that hot pink and mixing it back in with that purpley gray. That's good. I don't know. Is it? I don't like it. Something about it. It feels a bit too vertical, I think. It needs to be more horizontal. That's better. And I think it's too tall. It needs to be shorter because on the other side of the ear head oh, I see. That needs to be shorter and then it kind of curls up like that. Okay. It's pretty good. I like it. Do a few little wispies. I don't know. Maybe I don't like those wispies as much as I thought I would. There, just kind of opening it up a little bit. And we're gonna integrate it into the black more than what I'm showing here, but basically kind of on the edge of the canvas, just kind of do this. This is the vibe. All right, so you're just kind of adding some pink. All right, I know it looks a little haywire right now, but then you're gonna take your black and you're gonna paint over it with your black and kind of mix it in. We're gonna do a little bit of a back and forth between the pink and the black to just give the background some, just to give the background a little something something, basically. I do feel like this needs to be more like, I don't know, solid might be the word. Just, yeah, I don't know. I mean, that looks pretty good. Yeah, so we're just taking the pink, mixing it in with the black in a few places. Just so it feels like, I don't know, a little more textured, a little more interesting. Taking a little bit of black and cutting into the face. Always sounds so gruesome. Does that look right? I think it does. I don't know what I'm doing, to be honest. I'm literally just adding paint to the background in a few places, and then I'm gonna integrate it more into the painting with black. That's the key. So that's the full vibe. And as I do that, I'm just like noticing little things here and there that I can touch up in the painting. That looks good. And yeah, just kind of and then taking the black and painting over it again. Maybe a little bit more height right there for the mane. We just want the background to feel like it's connected. Yeah, so maybe a little bit more pink under here in a few places. And then you take the black and you just kind of paint around it so it feels like it's like you have multiple layers of paint on the painting, which you do, but you're kind of cheating just a little bit doing this, which I love cheating in my art. Like I take shortcuts all the time, like tasteful shortcuts. That is painting, you know. Painting is a lot about finding what's a way to kind of make something look a certain way and use like a technique all throughout to get that vibe so that you're not actually outlining every little thing. That's more like drawing. Drawing is a lot about like detailing every little thing, whereas I feel like painting is a lot about just kind of finding these little tricks and techniques that can truly go a long way. I almost feel like I need to palette knife it. Like, take my palette knife. Oh yeah, that's kind of the vibe. Oh yeah, that's the vibe that I'm going for. Yes. Oops. That's definitely the vibe. I am gonna kind of push it back a little bit with the black. This is a plastic palette knife. It's not the best palette knife in the world, but it works for what I need it for. Okay, all right, honey. I see what you're doing. Maybe a little bit in here. A little bit in there. A little in there. A little in there. Okay, so then take some black because you don't want it to detract from your subject matter. So you're going to take the black and you're going to push it over what you just did. get some horizontal moments happening, so it's not just like up and down marks. This definitely needs to be pushed back. It's just too obvious right there. I feel like I need more black, honestly. And I feel like I need to do some horizontal stuff. We don't want it to feel like it's taking away. We want it to feel like it's enhancing. So that's why I'm making sure I'm kind of pushing it back. Not making it hella fucking obvious. We're making it subtle. This is art. Okay? So be artful with your choices. Yeah. This is pretty. My phone is totally about to die. I feel like there's just maybe one little thing I feel like this can be a little bit more, and that can kind of come in a little more. That looks good. And then maybe that's good. The other thing is this purple moment could be more structured and defined in there. And I also feel like that the hair can come down a little more in there. That looks good. Just a little bit. That could be a little bit more subtle. I like the flyaways though, for sure. No, it's alright. I love painting with negative space. Alright, let's make underneath the chin just really dark, or underneath the jaw, or cheek, or whatever it is. I gotta maybe cut that in a little too far, so just... There we go. I do think in here could be a little highlight. That's cute. Having a few like really bright pink moments throughout the painting is kind of what it's all about, because it's like the subdued pink moments or the off pink moments create more meaning for the really, really bright pink moments. I will say my paintbrush and my water is getting muddy. And that's okay. I'm trying to decide, like, what is happening in here? I feel like there needs to be a shadow and then that light spot. That's kind of the vibe. Yeah. That adds a lot. Okay, let me take a picture. My phone's about to die. I just want to make sure it doesn't look weird before I say it's done. And taking a picture is a good way to just make sure there's nothing outrageously wrong about it. Okay. And don't compare your painting to my painting, because even my painting looks different than the reference image I'm using, and everybody's is gonna look different, and like that's fine. I felt like that needs to just be a little bit lighter. Yeah, it feels like it might need to be a little bit bejeweled or something. So maybe I'll do a video or a stream where I go in and I add some jewels, or maybe that's just something that I'll do on my own time. I don't know. But I really appreciate you being here. I can't thank you enough for just being in my corner as I, navigate this weird world of art and ASMR. So, thanks again. And I will see you next time. Let's just make sure that's as white as it can be in there. Okay, I think that looks good. Oh, my phone died. All right. It's as good as it's gonna get. Oh my god, I need to stop. I need to walk away. I have no choice.